What do you see as China's power in this same time frame?
By 2028 mid is when we are going to be a lot better ready to conduct a larger operation. But 2027 and 2028 are reserved more for internal cleaning. After that is reserved more for external cleaning, properly taking care of the boundaries of India. So there's two types in which wars will be conducted. One important thing that viewers should know is that Pakistan has that parcel of the land from India where original Indian civilization, started. And once that is done, is when we strike. Okay.
Yeah.
And when we strike, then also we would strike in a very dharmic manner.
And that is why people will look to India to consult India, all things, whether it's economic or political or whatever it is. And of course, so many people learn from the Eastern tradition, especially the Vedic tradition and knowledge.
Post 2026 November is when in USA racism starts to rise against communities. Basically, all communities start turning against each other. The start of the financial reset, I want to say, is post the FIFA World Cup.
Zohran Mamdani is not going to do too well in his career. Now, where do you see Europe and UK headed towards?
After October 2026, you would not be able to sell your property for the price that you want to. By any chance, you're looking to move out of the UK, this is the right time. 2028 onwards, things are going to come to Europe as well, and people should stay prepared for that. As per my understanding and as per my readings, Russia will attack Germany.
But do you see a global conflict then in 2028, 2029?
China and Taiwan will have to become one nation.
So you see reverse migration by Indians back to India over the next few years? What do you see as the future of Pakistan?
Whatever India wants to be will be the future of Pakistan.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to part 2 with Mridul. And Mridul is a very different type of astrologer. In this episode, we are going to do his individual predictions. And so this is not going to be from other saints or somebody else. But now we're going to take some very interesting topics and we're going to talk about his predictions for those topics. I would like all of you to please like this video and subscribe to my channel because I'm trying to increase my subscriptions. The last video with Mridul was almost 50,000 views, but I have only 15,000 subscribers. So if it doesn't harm you in any way, please subscribe to this channel. And I will bring now Mridul onto the stage and we will start our conversation. Welcome back, Mridul. Namaste.
Namaskar, Vinita ji. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for making time to come back to us and talk to us about Jyotish. And our last video did very well. So let's have another very interesting conversation. But before we get to predictions, I want Mridul to talk about his work, which is unprecedented, I think, because of what he's doing. So Mridul, can you tell us a little bit about what you're doing?
Sure, Vinita ji. So basically, what I'm aiming to do is that there are thousands and thousands of just Jyotish scriptures lying with private collectors and with the government of India as well that are in different languages and they've been written over different materials. For example, there would be some Jyotish texts, astrology texts, let's say, written on paper. Okay, that are not very old. So these texts that are written on paper are generally not very old. They are indeed 200 to 500 year range. Okay. Then there are texts that have been written on leaves. Okay. So they are then older. Then there are further texts that have been written on metal. There are texts that have been written on clothes. So these are very old texts. Now, a lot of the people that speak those languages in that way particularly. For example, if there is a Tamil text, you would not find people today who speak Tamil speaking in that way. That text has been written. Okay, so it is very important today that we translate those and make books out of them in a modern manner. Okay, so for example, I'll just show you one. So this is the Saptarishi Nadi that I've been working on. Okay, so this is very difficult to lift to the camera as well. As you can see, This is more than 2000 pages. Okay, this is all old Tamil. Okay, so now I'm working on this, and 12 15 sorry 12 books more like that, just within the Saptrishi Nadi itself, and then 15 20 other Tamil scriptures as well. Now when we translate these, we get certain astrological dictums out of them. Okay, and then we use them to create softwares and tools. So those softwares and tools are also currently in progress. What can these tools do? So in future, when we will be able to build certain specific chakras, for example, you must have seen a horoscope diagram which looks like the diamond chart. It is known as the diamond chart, okay, with all the diamond like squares. And then there is a South Indian diagram uh, for horoscopes. But other than those diagrams that are based on rashis and houses, okay, so signs and houses in a horoscope, uh, with the Indian way of calculation, which is known as the sidereal way of calculation, there are many other different types of charts as well. Okay, for example, there is the Saptanadi chakra, which is used to predict the weather. Okay, and similarly, there are other charts that are used to predict other different aspects of life, or of different nations, political entities, and economies all over the world. So these we will probably be able to publish in a software form, I think, within this year itself. So I'm just keeping my fingers crossed, and hoping that me and my team of developers and translators are able to deliver something of value within this year itself.
Yeah, and if you don't mind, if you can share your screen also. So what Mridul is doing is essentially what he's saying is he's taking Tamil translators, so they're all volunteer driven. So he takes these Tamil translators who understand this traditional old Tamil, and it's written in a different script, just like the Nadi Jyotish. It's an old Tamil script. Then they translate it for him. So what he's doing is he's translating this ancient Tamil text into Hindi and English. And he's also working with the government of India and the Ministry of Culture, and he's been recognized by the government of India for doing these translations, which no one has done before. Not only that, he's then going to make these charts and different calculations and everything. And not just that, then he takes these calculations and ways that predictions are made, and he's programmatically putting it into a software. So this is where we would like you to support him. Okay. So I don't see his screen up, but anyway, he last time when we spoke, he showed me these charts and everything. It was very fascinating. So I think everyone gets a picture, and we will share his. Okay, here we go.
Are you
So
able to see my screen?
yes, I can see your screen now.
Okay. For example, a lot of people they talk about Kalsar Pyog, right? It's a popular term that has been used a lot in the popular Jyotish literature, but it has been used in the wrong way. Okay. So what happens is that when planets are between Rahu and Ketu, they do give certain specific results, but it is because of the way that they are placed in the Dashang Rahu Chakra. Okay, and not exactly because of any Kalsar Pyog. Okay, and then there are other different types of Rahu chakras as well. For example, this Kunta chakra, this is used to predict the people who are going to not be able to make it to the end of a war. Okay, so basically people who die in a war. So who would die today, or kings would have such questions in the earlier days. So these chakras were used there. Okay, so similarly, this is a chakra called as Kurma chakra. Okay, this is used to predict basically in which direction certain things will happen within a country. Okay, and as I was mentioning, Saptanadi chakra, so this is a chakra that is used to predict the weather. Okay, the type of weather, and what impact is it going to have in different parts of a country. So similarly, there are many things, and many things we've been already able to develop. So but hopefully within this year we are going to be able to bring some technology for you to use as well.
Yeah, that's great, Midul. And like I said, it's unprecedented. So please do support him. We'll give his details for payments. He's in India. And if you are abroad and if you cannot make the Indian UPI, GPay, and all that stuff, I'll ask him if he has a PayPal. I think you have PayPal as well, but we'll put all those details in the description, and I'll also put it in a pinned comment. So now let's go on to our famous topic, which is predictions, which even I like a lot, and it's been very popular with everyone. So I will just present each topic, and we can go from there. So the first thing is, everybody is very concerned about the war, and as like you can see in the last
Mm,
24 hours, there was another attack on Dubai and everything.
mm.
So all these predictions will be in the context of the current war and how it'll progress and things like that. So Mridul, is there something you want to say up front, and then we can get into which countries will lose power or be diluted in their power?
Sure. So I think we did discuss this last time also, that at least I am expecting that the wars in Middle East, okay, they are here not as, see, there's two types of looking at a war, okay, two ways. So one is wherein you know you see it in the very textbook context, in the modern textbook context, wherein you feel that everything is a moral science lecture, right? And everything is going on because of that. And if there was just one better moral science lecture, everything would stop, right? It's not that way. And in Jyotish and in all types of Indian scriptures, we have a very pragmatic way of looking at things. Okay, so my understanding is that, and my prediction has also been that this war will not stop. Okay, this war has been brought to fore to dilute the power of USA. Okay, and that will happen, that is bound to happen. In no way is it going to stop, as per what I can see. Okay, maybe I'm wrong, and I'm open to being wrong, but this is my prediction. 2029 mid is where I see a proper dilution of the current financial system. When the financial system changes, okay, then the country in power also goes away. For the last 2000 years of economic history that we have, 1700 years out of that, India has been in the number one position, okay, for 2000 years of economic recorded history. But now people will start understanding after 2029 why a country, okay, that has been created with immigrants versus countries that are civilizational states, okay, which one is built for the long run. Okay, so civilizational states are built for the long run, and the political changes that are going to happen within India, and that are already happening within India, okay, they are also pointing towards returning back to being a civilizational state. Okay, and it will happen. Now, a lot of the people, they wonder that when we talk about India as a civilization, are we talking about getting some land parcels back to the country? Okay, increasing the land boundaries. And yes, we are also talking about that, but that is going to be the lesser important part of two. Okay, it is going to be lesser important compared to the internal transformation that is already happening and will keep on happening till
So
2035.
yeah. So before we get to that point number two, which is India's map changes, in
Mm.
dilution, in with this diluting of powers, what do you think of? You mentioned U.S. Power will dilute because of the financial breakdown and stuff, and
Mm.
India's power as a civilizational state will increase. How do you see China playing into this?
Okay, so okay, so there's this two things. Okay, so one is that we are saying US will get diluted because of the financial status, but that is not the only thing. Okay, there are two countries in the world that are the most important for keeping US in power. Okay, other than USA itself, obviously. One is China, and the second is Japan. Okay, third is India. People may wonder how, but India is the largest English speaking country as of today. Okay, and because of that, USA has been able to use a lot of the top Indian manpower because of its dollar printing ability, because it maintains the top stature in the world when it comes to being a financial power, and because it has been successfully able to replace India's education system with the English education system, which it has not been able to do in China. Okay, so that will also go. That is the more important part here, because by 2035, as the predictions that I had given, and later on Modi ji himself announced with the specific year 2035, that we need to make English not as a permanent language in our education system. We have already made changes where now English is considered as a foreign language in our education system, even though we are the largest English speaking nation. And that will come in full force by 2035. Okay, so that will be a way in basically it is not something which is new in history. In the same way Sanskrit was eradicated at one point, in the same way Spanish was eradicated at one point, and in the same way Urdu was eradicated at a point in India, and then Marathi, and then now finally English will also go in the same way globally. So that is one important part that I should mention, and 2035 is the timeline for that.
Yeah, but do you see China as a big power, or what do you see as China's power in this same time frame?
Okay, so beyond 2045, I do not see China itself in the current way that it is today, standing as the next global hegemon. Okay, so after USA, it's not going to be China.
Okay, so this basically you think that it's going to be after 2045, right, Mridul?
It will be longer than that. So, as I mentioned probably in our last video, that there's a 20-year cycle, which is the Shiv cycle, in the 60-year Samvatsar cycle, that is yet to start. Okay, so
Mhm.
let's say 25 years from now, that is the exact timeline. Okay, which is around the time that we are speaking about, around 2050, 2051. But from 2060 onwards, it will be entirely clear. Okay, and there will be no doubts in anyone's mind by 2035 itself. But solidification of everything will take time, just like what happened with USA. See, after 1945, USA became the global superpower, but it took until 1971 where it was able to bring its currency to the fore, and it had enough power to move gold backwards and currency forwards uh, in the entire global financial system. We are talking about that kind of power, that kind of leverage. That is not coming before 2050s.
Okay, all right. But the next shift after 2029 is going to be towards India. All right. And then
Again.
the second thing we were going to talk about is India's map changes. And how
Hmm.
do you see that with that timeline?
Right. So a lot of the people are waiting for some big math changes, but I should tell you that by the way, there will be attacks, now going on even after the year, that the next year, which is the next Tajik year. A Tajik year is when suns ingress into the same degree point in the same sign happens the next year. Okay, for a country in a horoscope. So India's uh, you could count it from one birthday to the next birthday. Roughly, it happens around the same time always. India's next year starts on 15th of August, 2026. Okay. From that year onwards, for the next 2-3 years, okay, all things related to military technology in India is going to be are going to be top notch. Okay, India is going to be able to build a full-fledged military industrial complex. Okay, countries like Pakistan that are causing problems on the Indian border, they are going to be uh, very small in comparison to what India would be able to do just within the next 4 years. Okay, because year by year, India's ability in the capacity of what it can do as a military is going to increase tremendously. Okay, uh, by leaps and bounds. And by 2028 mid is when we are going to be a lot better ready to conduct a larger operation. Okay, we could call it the next caesarean delivery that India would want to have, just like it had Bangladesh in 1971. Okay, we are ready for another cesarean delivery, but it's going to take some time from here. Okay, um, the good thing will be that okay, so one more thing is that I'm not very comfortable disclosing all the analysis around that, because I see some things there that it's best to not talk a lot about the military strategy part, or all these things, as in what you see and exact timelines. But it's not happening as soon as people are expecting it to. Okay, yes, will there be some conflicts before that also? Certainly there will be conflicts before that also, but 2027 and 2028 are reserved more for internal cleaning for India. Okay, after that is reserved more for external cleaning, properly taking care of the boundaries of India, and properly making the neighbors understand where we are going to be, where we stand. Our policies will be clearer. Uh, so that's happening from 2028 mid onwards. The bigger C-section deliveries are coming in after
Okay.
that.
So when you say C-section, is it a part of India that will go away? Because you mentioned
Oh,
Bangladesh.
no, 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 no,
Is it
no,
is
no,
it
no.
more increase in the borders of India?
Certainly increase.
Certainly.
Certainly increase. Even for
Okay.
resolving Vastu issues, we always prefer to extend the area of the home instead of cutting, right? So we are always of a you know going large mindset as a country. Uh, we've had it for a while where we've had to cut down on that mentality, but we are going to be back in full flow, and it's going to be in a very positive way. Okay, so there's two types in which wars will be conducted. Okay, uh, all over the globe. One would be the kind of an unethical way wherein, see, when US started a war with Iran, it could have moved ahead without bombing that school with 150 girls in that school. That was entirely unnecessary, and it's not at all dharmic, right? India would never do that. Okay, we would only go for the necessary things, wherein we do not hamper our own karma as a country. Okay, so one important thing that viewers should know is that Pakistan has that parcel of the land from India where the original Indian civilization started. Okay, so the Harappan civilization, Indus Valley civilization, this is Yagya Bhumi. Okay, this is the land where all the Veds came into being. Okay, so because it is an entirely Punya Bhumi, okay, or basically the land of righteousness where the results of good karma have to happen, that is the single reason why Pakistan is always rescued. Okay, uh, in the Vedas, okay, and everywhere in Purans and these stories, Brihaspati is always known to he's known to be a master of reducing the karmic gains of the opponent. Okay, so he would go to the asuras in the when Venus Shukracharya is missing. Okay, and he would tell them how they can just have a merry life. For example, people think that the Charvak philosophy given by Brihaspati, Jupiter, is philosophy which is about enjoying the life, but people don't understand that this Charvak philosophy was given by Brihaspati to Shukracharya students to reduce their punyas. Okay.
Shukracharya is Venus. So because we have a lot of non-Indian viewers, so I'm just going to translate. Brihaspati is Jupiter and Shukracharya is Venus. And
Right.
we look at them as deities, not like as inanimate planets.
Exactly. So Jupiter, let's use that terminology for the viewers. So Jupiter, in the form of Brihaspati, okay, gave the teaching of Charvak philosophy to the students of Venus, Venus in the form of Shukracharya, when he was not present, so that they would just merrily keep enjoying their life, so that all their punya, all their like the, you could call it as karmic positive points that they might have earned, they're all destroyed in just merrymaking enjoyment. Okay, and once that is destroyed is when they get attacked by the devs. Okay, So that is how they are defeated. Okay, so we are a nation of who prefers that type of a strategy. Okay, we allow the opponent to decrease their karmic points. Okay, and once that is done is when we strike. Okay,
Yeah.
and when we strike, then also we would strike in a very dharmic manner, just like we did in Operation Sindoor, wherein we did not go for any civilian casualties.
A lot of people are talking about India becoming the world's guru or the Vishwa guru.
Hmm.
And how do you see that? How do you see India's becoming more of like a spiritual light or beacon in the future?
Right. So I think we use that terminology very loosely in our conversations, wherein we think of Vishwaguru as an an entity which brings the knowledge of the soul to everyone. Right. Basically, when we say knowledge of the soul, what we mean is that in the world, when you want to get knowledge, a top-down approach is preferred in the larger sense. So when you have the knowledge of the Atma or the soul, then you could become a person who could just write scriptures on their own, just like say Parashar ji did with Jyotish, or Ved Vyas ji did with Mahabharat, and compiling Vedas, all these things. Basically you could make better sciences, mathematics, all these things for the betterment of the world. That is what we mean by being a Vishwaguru. Okay, but being a Vishwaguru can only happen when you have the financial ability to I mean, have a system wherein the entire world actually comes and listens to you. Okay, and that has already started with the EU deal with India. Okay, I had predicted in 2024 of how the problems with EU are going to happen. Okay, and this is nothing but chance that EU wants to take because it knows where the future lies with India. So the largest deal ever has happened between EU and India.
Okay. So, in that sense, that India will become is that the world will listen to India, not
Right.
necessarily as a spiritual, guru, but of course, whatever India speaks to the world is going to be based in dharma, right? And
Yes.
so the leadership in India will be dharmic, and therefore it will be wise and righteous and those things. And that is why people will look to India to consult India for all things, whether it's economic or political or whatever it is. And of course, as people, as private individuals across countries, this has been going on anyway, that so many people learn from the Eastern tradition, especially the Vedic tradition and knowledge. So that's good to know. Trump's tenure, and let's take Trump first, and then Zohran Mamdani as well.
There was a book written once known as The Last President. Okay. Uh, it has been becoming somewhat popular lately because of Donald Trump. Uh, and the same writer also wrote a book wherein the main leading character in that book was named Baron Trump. Okay. And today, Donald Trump's son is Baron Trump. Okay, and he wrote these two books, The Last President and the something to do with the adventures of Baron Trump, wherein he goes from an underground tunnel to Russia and meets with very different types of creatures, all these things. Basically what the author is trying to say, combined when you combine the two books and then you read in between the lines, is that Donald Trump is probably the last president of either a unified United States of America, okay, or a prosperous United States of America. Zohran Mamdani, on the other hand, has been certainly, it is so easy to understand that Zohran Mamdani has been brought to take down the financial capital of USA. Uh, I can understand why some people will have their emotions connected to the politics of Zohran Mamdani, and that's okay. But if you know, cut through the crap, right, and just look at what he's been doing, okay, he's going for the sure shot strategic kill friendly fire, which is known as tax the rich. Okay, which is a textbook example of certainly going wrong. Okay, uh, there is no example in history which can just bounce back off of that. Okay, so that is going to happen with New York. And again, it is interesting to see that our prediction was for 2029 mid, when the financial reset has to happen, and Zohran Mamdani's term ends then. Okay, so he's coming in to get the job done. Okay, and a lot of the people from Asia are very happy that Zohran Mamdani has won, and see, finally an Asian is representing the people of New York. Okay, or a Muslim is representing the people of New York. But people should understand that he has been brought to degrade the name of these two communities, not to enhance the names of these two communities. Okay, so yeah, I think people should be aware of this fact. At least my prediction is that Zoran Mamdani and Donald Trump both have been brought in to do the difficult work which others would not have agreed to.
Yeah. So this is as in what I believe you're saying is as per destiny. It was just when they were brought in is by divine design. I mean, it's in the greater mechanism of why the karmic retributions or whatever it is has brought in these characters to execute certain destinies for countries and cities. But do you feel that Trump is going to complete his tenure? The next US elections are in 2028.
Great. Yeah, I think he's going to complete his tenure. And the other thing that I feel is that post 2026 November, I had given this prediction back in 23 or 4, I think, that post 2026 November is when in USA racism starts to rise. Okay, against Indians, all Asian communities, blacks, between communities, basically, all communities start turning against each other. Okay, post 2026 November, 2027 and 2028, this increases further, and that results to all kinds of bad things happening within the country. The financial reset. Okay, the start of the financial reset, I want to say, is post the FIFA World Cup. Okay, so the FIFA World Cup is almost here now. Okay,
Mhm.
after that is when it starts to happen. Okay, and which is I think July, August is when it is
June and July.
coming to an end.
So you
Yeah.
said the financial reset. So this is not the mid 2029, right? This is some other
No,
sort
this
of
is the starting. This is the
start.
starting. Yeah.
Okay.
This time, nothing will happen in a day. Okay.
Yeah.
Because this time, big changes are needed. Okay. So, okay, look at this in this way. From 2022 to till now, just in 4 years, every year has had events like, it was a 2008 or a 2001 or something like that, right?
Mhm.
So just that the impact has not been seen in the markets in that scale because of the continuous money pumping that is being going on in the market.
Mhm.
Okay, while on ground the property prices and the buyers for the property continue to reduce in numbers in many western countries. Okay, probably not in the USA, but in other western countries it has already started to happen. And that is why these countries have already started getting their free trade agreements in order with India. Okay, all western countries have already done that.
Okay. So you do start you're saying that we'll start seeing the financial repercussions and a downward trend from starting from about July of this year.
Yes.
And you said that yes, you do see Trump completing his tenure. Zoran Mamdani is not going to do too well in his career, and
He's going
that's
to do well. He's going to complete the task that he's been brought for.
yeah, in that sense, in destiny wise. So that's for the US. Now, where do you see Europe and UK headed towards?
Okay, so for UK, I had posted with specific months. if I am able to recall, I think I said that after October 2026, you would not be able to sell your property for the price that you want to in the UK. If by any chance you're looking to move out of the UK, this is the right time. Okay, from 2026 end, certainly you are going to be seeing a downfall in the property prices. Okay, and in certain areas, obviously where there's more illegal immigrants entering, and those property prices would just come down crashing. Okay, for entire Europe, I had said that Germany would take a stand and it would start its policy on remigration of the people that had come to Germany. I had said that specifically it would start with the Muslim immigrants in that country. So, what Germany did after that, the timeline that we had given, it picked two countries. One is Afghanistan, and the second is Syria, from where basically the immigrants are all Muslims, right? So they said that now we want to send back the people from Syria back to Syria, and they have 1.3 million Syrians, by the way. So it's not going to be without violence, definitely. Uh,
Mm.
for Afghanistanis, they and remember, Afghanistan has close relations with India, and India has close relations with Germany. So for Afghanistanis, the language that they used is that just stay in your country. Even if you've applied for immigration, we are just going to send money your way. Just live in your country, have that money in your bank account, and that money has been given to you because you're not coming to our country now. Okay, so both things happened as per the timeline that we had given. The second timeline that we had given for Germany and the Europe was for May 2026, and we had said that around that time entire EU will come together. Germany will be the reason why entire EU comes together. Germany will take the step forward, bring everyone together, and they will make a move against immigration and against illegal immigrants already living in Europe. That has also already happened, and the bill has been passed in the European Union Parliament. Okay, so exactly as per that, this has happened. Now, the wars that are happening in the West Asia region right now, and Europe is, I mean, the Ukraine war is going on, certainly, the US threat for Greenland, all of that is there. But the condition is not as bad as West Asia, but only for some time.
Mm.
2028 onwards, things are going to come to Europe as well. Okay. And people should stay prepared for that. I feel, as per my understanding and as per my readings, Russia will attack Germany. The top industrial towns there, whether it is Ruhr or Frankfurt, these places, they are going to get attacked. Basically, all types of industries that are there. Some city will have a financial industry, some city will have more, like engineering-based industries. They are going to get attacked. Okay, and it's going to be a bad time for Germany and Europe as well. Ultimately, the power shift will happen to India by making sure that this Germany area and the Europe area also takes a backseat, and the USA also takes a backseat post 2035. But from 2028 onwards, in Europe, we will see it happening.
Mm. So, do you, in that, in a bigger picture, I just want to understand, do you see a global war or conflict going on in various ways? Because it's not just going to be traditional weapons, but do you see a global conflict then in 2028, 2029?
Because India and China, these two countries, they still have a better, horoscope or better years coming ahead in comparison to Western countries. These countries will go in wars, but only when they have all the necessary weapons and the military structure to go for it, and that too only in the neighborhood. Not like how USA has gone so far to engage in Iran. Okay, that will not happen with Asian countries. Do we want to call it a world war? Well, it's a global restructuring. So in that way, you could call it a world war. But multiple conflicts going on together. Okay, like it happened. By the way, World War II and World War I were also not entirely world wars, basically. They
Yeah.
were made to be world wars in the textbooks because they were basically British colonies, and because Britain was involved in those wars, soldiers were brought from all countries to fight. Okay,
Mhm.
that's how it became a global war. That's not going to happen in this time.
Okay, but what I mean is that the top 4 or 5 countries in the world, so China,
Hmm.
Russia, US, Europe, India, are these top 5, 4, 5, 6 countries going to
Hmm.
be in a conflict? Do you see that in
Oh,
2028?
certainly. USA is already in conflict. Russia is already in conflict. India has already had a conflict. China, I predicted that January is when it makes the next move, and September of 2026 is when it makes the next move, which is going to be bigger than the January move. January move happened. September move, I've already given the prediction that it will happen towards Taiwan, and then before the last quarter, basically before October November 2026. Before that, no major attack on Taiwan should happen from China. But after that, certainly there should be some engagement by both countries, and it should stretch longer. Not a very short war.
So you're saying, I did not record it on my show at least. So you're saying that China would move against Taiwan in September 2026.
No, so not move as in launch a war. Okay,
Yeah,
so in January it launched a military exercise wherein uh,
yeah.
just around the border of Taiwan they hit missiles. Okay, in the ocean water itself. So
Mhm.
that was the next level of escalation from the last one, which had happened last year. Okay. Now the next escalation happens in September, is what I am predicting. And then further escalation happens in the last quarter of this year, but not before October, mid, basically.
And do you see that China would then become a part of Taiwan? Because it's definitely going to involve Japan and America and all the allies. How do you see that ending up by and by when?
China and Taiwan will have to become one nation
And
at some
that
point.
would be relatively soon, like in a year, 2 years, or
I think before 2030 that will happen, because 2027 they are definitely going to be at having a hot war, and I think it should be before 2030 itself.
I see. Okay, so that's a major prediction then. Um, so we went from basically Europe, and you said that there will be a lot of reverse migration there. And then you see a further degradation in the economic conditions also, I believe, because you said that the prices will go down in England and the European economy is sliding. But here we were going to discuss also Canada and US food to move or move back. What do you what did
Oh, good to move or move back.
yeah.
Uh, right. So Canada and USA, I wouldn't.
Oh,
By the way,
good.
I was working for a Canadian company at one point. My visa and everything was done. I didn't move to Canada because I could see the worst times coming for Canada. Um, uh, it has already started in some capacity, at least financially, structurally, and politically. The country is good for now. Uh, Now that the leadership has changed, and this leadership is forging good relations with all the countries that where the relationships were hampered already. However, uh, the future, everyone should know, for Australia, for Canada, for USA, for UK, basically these countries where mostly Indians immigrate to, right?
Mhm.
Uh, it's not good, guys. It's not going to be as good as what happened after 2008 crisis was that a lot of Indians were brought in these countries in bulk numbers to build up an economy uh, which is suited for AI, which had to come later on, and social media combined. But now that is already done. Okay,
Mhm.
so a lot of remigration will happen. The other thing, because that will happen, is because these economies don't want Indians to be, buying during a stress sale. Okay, so distress sale, Indians are basically distress sale experts. So if a war is going on, let's say with USA by another country, And even if missiles are landing on the US soil, Indians would see it as an opportunity. A lot of Indians, they would see it as an opportunity to buy cheaper land, right? Because even if you destroy the structure over the land will still be there, right? And some redevelopment will happen someday after the war. That is how they will think. And the governments of US, Canada, these countries will know that. So expect some racism to rise, uh, from 2026 November onwards.
So you see, again, reverse migration by Indians back to India over the next few years. Is that what you're saying?
No, so I'm saying some remigration. Okay, not all. Certainly not all. Uh, that's not an interest of anyone, I think.
Mm,
So that will never happen.
I see.
However, the racism will start from 2026 November, as we predicted. That's what I think. From then, you'll see more racism-related incidents happening, more targeted, killings, or more targeted, campaigns happening. Not only against Indians, as in, but in general against migrants.
We've discussed a lot of these countries and we sort of touched upon Pakistan as well. But what do you see as the future of Pakistan?
Whatever India wants to be will be the future of Pakistan. Pakistan is not going to be in a very good independent capacity here on. In 2025 August, I gave the prediction before the because the birthdays of India and Pakistan, they come together 14th of August and 15th of August. Just like how in college and schools, when you have a birthday with your neighbor, you party together, right?
Mm,
So I gave the predictions together for these two countries. And for Pakistan, I specifically said that before the next birthday of Pakistan, it will already lose some part of it. Okay, that has already happened. Balochistan movement has already happened. Okay, it
mhm,
is quite free. By the way, people should know that Balochistan has launched its own navy. Okay, and
mhm,
Balochistan navy attacked the Pakistan navy. It's nothing more than a fleet of boats, but it's still what they are calling as a navy, and they are calling it as our navy, our country's navy, is what they are calling it on Twitter as well. So Balochistan, from their side, has already been liberated to a good extent. Okay, and the coming years for Pakistan are even worse. They are going to be worse than what they are seeing right now. Okay,
mhm,
and right now is as bad as it can be. I mean, any civil society cannot imagine it to be this bad. They're having, big power cuts. They're having a big energy crisis. Their borders are not secure from any direction. They wanted a 2.5 front war in India. A 2.5 front war is going on right now in
mhm.
Pakistan itself. Okay, so the future is going to be even worse.
Yeah, so it will lose land, and as we said, that India's borders are going to increase, but then it is also being impacted by its internal problems with the Pashtun movement, the Baloch movement, and things.
Exactly.
So, do you see Pakistan on the map? Say 5 years from now, whatever you have, what do you see in it? Do you see it as a country, as an independent sovereign country?
It's a good buffer zone to have. So in that capacity, I see it as a entity. Let's not call it a big country or any powerful something on the map, but it's going to be there in some capacity. I don't see it completely going away. Okay,
Mm,
but I see heavy chaos. The next year that is coming from August 2026, and I'll post predictions for that for Pakistan, is going to be worse than what they have had this year, and the next coming years are going to be further worse. So bad things are expected.
okay. There's a couple of other topics, that we want to go over. Um, and we want to also look at some important medical advancements
Mhm.
that are coming, which is some good things we can talk about, some not just chaos and financial breakdowns and wars, but there are going to be some positive developments in the future as well. So how do you see these medical developments in the future?
So one thing that I had predicted, which has already happened, is that uh, I had said that post February of 2026, the weight loss pills will come in the market. So the injections, the Ozempic, and all these things were already existing. That was not new. But tablets, and that too very affordable tablets, would come, was our prediction, and that has already happened with Monjaro and all these tablets coming now to the market. The next thing that should be in works now, and that should come someday in the future. I'll give you a more proper timeline. Certainly not happening in 2026, by the way, and not in the early, not in the first quarter of 2027 also. But the pills for removing, what do you call it, like the hangover after having drinks, will
Mm.
also come in. Okay. So that the sales of alcohol and all types of intoxicants can increase globally. So to increase that, such drugs will also come to the market. uh, Not this year, but within, by the first half of 2027, we would have seen some progress in that research.
Okay. But not anything like a cure for cancer or any good things like that?
uh, Vaccine market related predictions I had given, that 2026 is the year of pharma, right? And within 2026, the HPV vaccine thing has already happened, right? Which is very much enforced, by the way, if you look at it. It's not a natural movement that has happened, and a lot of medical professionals have come out and said that people were dying in lesser numbers because of certain diseases than they are after taking the HPV vaccines. Okay, so medical research is also going to be used as a weapon only in the near future. Okay, but once the economic reset happens, okay, at least in India, see. As you've been in the US for a long time, you must be remembering those times, like 20 years back from now, wherein all the ingredients that were used in the USA were of the finest quality, right? It was not like today, wherein some artificial food is also there. All these things are happening in the US as well.
One last thing that we would like to cover is this AI, a lot of
Hmm.
job losses, and there's thousands upon thousands of job losses. And there seems to be a turnover where you're clearing out. I mean, it's the same thing when what happened with the industrial age, with the advancements of internet. There's a lot of turnover in terms of, the job profiles, right? So right now we're in this changing of a skin. How do you see the future of businesses and jobs, and just general overview of the advancement of AI?
Hmm. So, in general, AI is going to just keep getting better. Okay, when Saturn enters Aries, and thereon the combinations that are forming for the USA, for India, all these major
So
countries
just
that depend on a lot of technology
yeah,
related jobs.
just I want to give that. So Saturn will move into Aries February of 2028, just for our viewers. Yeah.
Yes, before that, but yes, I mean, Taurus will happen around that time, 2029, 30s time. But Aries will happen sooner. Uh, when that happens, expect big, big job losses, especially because of AI. Okay. Um and that's coming sooner than expected. Uh, it's all going to happen before 2029 itself. Okay, so
Mhm.
the scale of job loss that we see right now is only going to increase from
Mm.
here on. Yeah, uh, no good news there. By the way, for the coming few years, there's not much good news to share. People might think that we are spreading some negativity, or I would love to talk positive. I am a very positive person that way, and always looking for solutions, trying to find solutions only, and not problems. But what do we say when that's the direction that I can see in the horoscope, right? I cannot lie to look more positive on screen. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah,
But in terms of not positive or negative, it's kind of relative. But in terms of more dharmic state, like we saw that, of course, India will advance more towards being seen as a dharmic leader. um, when do you see more of a tilt, at least a break or something that we will get, or things will just keep getting worse and worse and worse and darker and darker and darker? But isn't there anything which is dharmic on the front? Maybe it's 2035 or whenever, or 2032 is a date I'm hearing. What do you see as some reprieve in dharmic values?
certainly 2035 onwards. Uh, for example, you see people today, from all walks of life in India, basically Asian countries, trying to learn English, right, as a language, so that they can, get involved in the Western economy uh,
Mhm.
globally. That will end, and people trying to learn or work more on Indian languages, you'll see much before 2035. But from 2035 onwards, it will be like a trend. By the way, I should point this out to the viewers so that they know how we are already moving towards that. When you go on Instagram and you upload a video, and Instagram automatically translates your video to many languages, just check how many Indian languages are there and how many Western languages are there. You'll know where the world is moving.
Hmm. Yeah, definitely these ancient languages, which include Sanskrit, and Sanskrit is an energy-based language, is a very phenomenal area of study. Unfortunately, I never lived in India to learn Sanskrit. I did try to learn Sanskrit on my own, but I'd encourage the viewers to learn Sanskrit. It's a phenomenal, I mean, there's no end to the depth of Sanskrit, because I've tried to research mantras, for example, and I realized there's so many layers upon layers and layers of meaning. And of course, Tamil also. I also have a desire to learn Tamil, ancient Tamil especially. So, and Hebrew is another very ancient language as well. So for me, I don't see borders, but because I was born in India, I have a natural inclination towards learning Sanskrit. So this is a very nice conversation, Mridul, and
I
we
want to
will,
add one more thing. I think
sure.
that will help your viewers understand the current situation better and prepare in a more proper manner. Okay. There's an author who had written all this about the economy. He could foresee it happening. The author is G. Edward Griffin. Okay. His books are available all over the US. They've been bestsellers. Uh, Out of all the people who've painted a picture for the USA, he's done it the in the best manner. Okay, just read his works about the United Nations, or about his book on the about Jekyll Island, and creature from the Jekyll Island, of how the United States got its status and how it will go away. Okay,
Mhm.
he's done a fantastic job at writing there what now we can see astrologically also. Astrologically, it was seen many a few hundred years back also, right? Which we've already talked in our previous podcast. But he will be able to make you understand better what will happen uh, with terminology and things specific to USA.
Yes, and because I live in the US, I feel the American people are very, very nice people. But unfortunately, the control of this hierarchical, this pyramid structure, this control is something that even the American people are suffering from. So, uh, you know, I I have a lot of sympathy for human beings, innocent human beings. But unfortunately, the world is controlled by a few humans, and this is very well known. It's like 10 families or 1% of the world that controls the rest. So hopefully, we'll get more into a dharmic world sometime, sometime, at least in my lifetime, I'll see it.